I've spent the past 3 years learning how to turn websites from static pages into real business growth tools. After seeing so many businesses struggle to grow online, I decided to share the 5 biggest lessons I've learned throughout my career, which took me from making websites that look like this to this. Now, it all starts with my first ever project. I just completed my first web design course and my mom asked me to build her website. Now, when I started working on this website, I didn't even come in with a strategy or a plan. I just thought making a website was making it look as good as possible because that's what people are paying for, right? Well, wrong. People don't pay for how the website looks. They pay for what the website does for the business. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how fancy or cool the website looks, it's about how much real business growth it can bring for a business. Now, a little bit into my career, about 1 year or so, I reached out to a client who makes furniture and I offered to build him a website for free and he could try it out for a few weeks. Around this time is when I started to take SEO more seriously and I began learning that being able to rank high locally is actually what can drive a lot of traffic for business. At this point, I wasn't very good at it, but I decided to try it for this business and see how well it could actually do for him. So I started by picking a keyword for him to rank for, and after a few weeks, we got the number 1 ranking that he was looking for. And all was great, and I thought that we are gonna see a bunch of people going on the site and calling this guy, but it ended up being nothing like that. Something that I forgot to think about while building this website and choosing the keyword to rank for was how many people are actually searching this keyword and what kind of people are searching this keyword. So after the first few months of being ranked position 1, he actually ended up having 0 traffic because it doesn't matter unless you match the search intent and you have enough people searching that keyword for you to get more users onto the website. This mistake ended up costing me and my clients a bunch of leads and wasted time and hopes because we didn't really think about this in the beginning and it was such a big mistake. Now, moving forward even further, I finally reached the point where I could make websites with strategy and websites that actually worked. But even with this newfound experience and expertise per se that I had, I'm still a designer at heart, and of course, I wanted to make a beautiful, award-winning, amazing, crazy looking website. But after spending a whole 2 weeks deciding what to do with this site, I ended up learning that sometimes simplicity wins over coolness. Because when users come onto the site, they don't care about how cool it looks or any of the fancy things that go on behind the scenes in terms of code. They just want to understand this business and know whether they're the right person to work with them. And the best way to get users to understand this is by having a very simple looking website, using a lot of white open space if it's needed for the website, of course, or sometimes being a bit more playful with it, but just keeping it very, very simple is what always works out. And I've seen that with countless websites I've tried making. Now, obviously, as a web designer, the deeper you go into it, the more you realize that AI is becoming more of a problem. And I didn't really believe it at first, so I set out to find out the truth. And while trying to find the truth about AI, I found something really, really powerful. The truth is that AI is here to make you a super web designer. Most people get afraid of it because they think it's gonna replace them because it can do everything better than a human. But that's not true. You still need some form of strategy and thinking behind it that some of these algorithms just can't understand. But at the same time, you can use AI to help spark ideas and generate code faster than you could before. It really just helps you create websites better, faster, and just makes you a better designer overall. Obviously, the AIs get better and better and better, but that just makes you as a designer better and better and better at making very good websites. So learning not to be afraid of AI, but embracing it and learning how to use it as a tool, a super tool, if I can add that, is the best way to move forward and make brilliant websites. Now, this next big mistake that I made is most important for business owners, and it now shapes my approach to pricing and everything that I do in my business. With the first few clients I had, I was just throwing out random prices that kind of felt reasonable. There was no thinking behind it, and I never assessed what value that was bringing. I never made a price based on how much value the client was getting from it. Very quickly, I learned that since I was clueless about the price, and my client also doubted my abilities and what I could do, because I was throwing out random prices that just didn't make sense. They felt good to me, but they didn't make sense in terms of what the website actually does for the business. What I ended up learning was that I had to compare how much business a client will get from this website and how much growth they will get, and then charge them based on that. Because if you're not providing any value, you can't make anybody pay for anything, because it's not worth anything. So being able to understand what you're doing for a client and how much value you're giving will help you understand how much you can charge for a website.